Each week on Culinary Confidential, Christina Cates, a seasoned foodie who has worked at some of New York City's top restaurants, will share her passion for the culinary world. Whether you're a professional chef, a restaurant enthusiast, or a lover of good food, Christina dives into the heart of hospitality, exploring the trends, triumphs, and challenges facing the food service profession. And you won't want to miss her chats with some of the most interesting and influential industry voices. And now, please take your seat at the table as Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates starts now, exclusively on AM 970. The Answer.
Welcome to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates. This show is produced in association with my dear friend, Lucas A. Ferrara. If you're tuning in tonight for the first time, I'm a passionate hospitality professional and foodie at heart. My whole professional career has been spent in the food industry. Whether I was scooping ice cream at the local ice cream shop at 16 years old or managing fancy New York City restaurants, I always found myself curious about hospitality and aggressively pursued a career in it. I want to share with you the things I've learned along the way with the people that I've met. Different positions in the food industry lend to different perspectives, so you'll learn more about that each week. I always enjoy connecting with new people, so if you have any topics or things you want to discuss on the show, please feel free to call in at 866-970-9622. On tonight's episode, we will be talking about the challenges of being a small business owner in a world where there is a rising cost of goods and ingredients. My guest this evening will discuss how they've used creative ways to curb costs while not impacting the guest wallet too much. Joining me tonight are Steve Cuccinelli, owner of Wonder Bagels in Jersey City, New Jersey, and Joey Fortunato, chef and former owner of Extra Virgin in the West Village. Steve Cuccinelli, he's someone I know from the town I currently reside in, Rutherford, New Jersey. I am incredibly good friends with his daughter, Sheila Barry. When I started lining up guests for this show, I thought to myself, how great would it be to have Steve on the show? He owns Wonder Bagels, located at 331 Central Ave in Jersey City. The reality is the cost of goods is always on the rise, but at the end of the day, you can only charge so much for a bagel. You can't always increase the price to offset the cost. That's really tough. A food item like a bagel should be a low food cost item with a high profit margin, and that's not really the case anymore. So Steve will share more with us about the bagel biz because bagels are a New York staple, and we need to keep them alive and well and fresh out of the oven. Later in the hour, we will be joined by Chef Joey Fortunato. Joey owned a restaurant on West 4th Street in the West Village called Extra Virgin. This was a sexy restaurant that was a staple in the neighborhood for 21 years. If you don't know much about restaurants, I can tell you that 21 years in the restaurant industry is a lifetime and a huge accomplishment. The slogan for Extra Virgin was, "Where the beautiful people come to eat beautifully." But Joey made the tough decision of having to close those doors at Extra Virgin a few months ago after a very good run but tough tenure during the pandemic. He's going to discuss with us things he did to keep the restaurant relevant after so many years, and how he had to pivot his business during and after COVID, and how the neighborhood itself has changed over the years. More about Joey later in the hour. Let's move into our first part of the show, and let me please welcome Steve Cuccinelli, owner of Wonder Bagels on Central Ave in Jersey City, to the show. Good evening, Steve. Welcome to Culinary Confidential.
Hi, Christina. How are you?
I'm amazing. I'm so happy that you made the trek across the Hudson to get here. I'm, delighted.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here today.
Steve, let me ask you, in a few words, how does one get into the bagel biz? Because that's a pretty specific market to get into when you didn't have a hospitality background to start.
Well, the only hospitality background I had, I was a bar. My family owned a bar in Jersey City.
Oh. What was it called?
Congress Tavern on Congress Street and Worcester Avenue, and we lived on Palisade and South Street in the Jersey City Heights section of Jersey City. So I was a bartender from early on, and prior to being a bartender at 18 and through 28, I used to clean the bar for my dad and his two brothers. So I knew a little bit about the industry and things of that nature, of the food service industry, and I've always been intrigued by it.
Yeah, but you have a strong background in sales, which, if people don't know, sales and hospitality go hand in hand.
So
and you're the kind of guy, I think, that can sell ice to an Eskimo. Am I right?
Pretty much so. I've been in the sales industry for 45 years, the past 35 years in finance, leasing, technology equipment. My first 5 years, though, out of college, I had a good retail experience selling door-to-door NCR cash registers and a lot to the restaurant retail industry.
Wow.
How I got into the business is, after I born and raised in Jersey City, and we graduated high school in 1975, a core group of guys, we all went to different colleges, and about 5 years after college, I had not seen a lot of the guys, so I had sent a note to about a group of 25 and said, let's get together the Thursday after Thanksgiving. Well, 35 years later, we still get together, that same crew.
That's amazing.
It's a great group of people and a great foundation from Jersey City. About 8 years ago, we were at the event, and a close friend of mine, Joe Castagna, who I played football and basketball with at Hudson Catholic, and he was a year ahead of me, asked me, you like to invest in things. Would you like to get in the bagel business? I said, we don't know anything about bagels, but why not? What do you know? He said, there's a gentleman that owns 6 bagel stores, and he said, if we find a location, he would be open to having us open a franchise. And that's how 7 years ago I got in the bagel business.
Wow. And how long have you owned Wonder Bagels for?
I've owned the Central Avenue location for 7 years now. The franchise showed us how to use it and do it to begin with, and then it was hands-on experience really to learn it. We hired the right roller, the right cook, and the right counter people. And we've gone through a different group of people, but I guess I would say about the last 3 years, we have the same steady 9 employees.
Wow. And are all the locations in Jersey City?
There is one location in Bayonne, but the other 6 are in Jersey City. So it has a very strong Jersey City name.
Yeah.
So that was a good start when we opened it up in the Jersey City Heights. The Jersey City Heights 7 years ago, the only bagel store in the Heights had burnt down. So we had looked at a bunch of locations, and the founder of Wonder Bagels, Issa, picked this location specifically for us to open the store.
Okay, great. And what's your level of involvement with the store? Like, if I walk into Wonder Bagels on Central Ave on a Saturday morning, am I going to see Steve Cuccinelli scooping veggie cream cheese onto an everything bagel? Or are you like a behind-the-scenes kind of guy?
I'm there September through May, every Saturday and Sunday, from about 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. or 5 a.m. to 2 p.m., depending on what's going on that day. I learned the business from the bottom up. I did not want any employee to know more about the business than I knew about the business.
Smart.
And I do not want any employee to have to do something that I didn't do first. Can I roll a bagel? No. Can I put the bagels in the kettle and cook them? No. I have other people that do it, the A team and then the B team, but I know the operation and what it takes to do it and how difficult or how easy it could be on any given day.
Mm-hmm. Wow. What kind of equipment are you using in the back of the house?
So
like,
we have
a
walk-in freezer, we have a walk-in refrigerator, we have the 2-burner grill, we have a six level oven, and then in the front of the house, of course, we have the counter equipment, the wall refrigeration with the cream cheeses and all that equipment that we need, and to keep the food in there. Cold cuts, cream cheeses, various items like that. So we're not only a morning store, we do a decent amount of lunch. And we're open from 5:30 a.m. to 2:30 every day.
If you're just tuning in for the first time, I have Steve Cuccinelli from Wonder Bagels on Central Ave on the show today. He's giving us insight into the bustling world of bagels. I want to talk a little bit, Steve, still about your employee retention. I know through not just the hospitality industry, through many industries across the country right now, it's hard to find good employees. And good employees that, want to work hard. They want to work long hours, which the restaurant industry is all about that. So what are you doing to kind of retain these employees? Where are you finding them? Is it word of mouth through other employees? Like, how are you getting people in the door?
Our team of 9 now has been very steady for about the past 3 years. I would say the first 3 or 4 years, we had gone through a decent amount of counter people and different grill people until we found the right team. Joe, my managing partner, does a great job. He still lives in Jersey City, and we're well connected within that. And so we'll talk to the customers. We'll let people know. In the 7 years we've been there, we've never put a help wanted sign in the window. Well, we usually get it by word of mouth. And the team now, because this is a third income for me or a different investment for me, I treat my employees very, very well. And that's why they don't leave. They like it there. I make it comfortable for them, and we keep it as a family atmosphere. Hourly employees don't make a whole lot of money, but we give them a decent amount of hours. And more importantly, though, they know if they ever have any kind of family trouble or issues, we're there to support them. And they appreciate it, and they know it. And that you're not going to get that at the major franchise. You're just a number, and they don't care if you come or go. We care about our people.
Do you have a relationship with the other stores where, say, your bagel roller, whatever, got COVID and couldn't come in for a week? Could you post someone from another store?
We don't usually post the people, but let's say, and it's happened many times where the oven might break, and we don't have any bagels for 5:30 a.m. Joe and I will run around to the other stores, get the bagels, and then sell them out of our store. So that's part of the great part of being part of a group of 6 or 7 stores. I have great relationship with the other store managers. Then they need something, they can come to us, and when we need something, we go to them.
That's a good, that's a good relationship to have.
Yes.
What are some unforeseen challenges that you endured being a small business owner of a bagel store? Not necessarily COVID related, but things maybe that you didn't know or weren't aware that you were going to get into in opening this.
There hasn't been that many surprises, except in the past year and 2 years ago, the cost of goods. The cost of goods go up so rapidly, and we do not raise our prices. Like a McDonald's can press a button and the entire franchise might raise the price of coffee.
Right.
We don't do that. Now, we have an electronic menu board, we have electronic cash register system, but we don't change the prices like that. We're an inner-city neighborhood store, and I feel personally that there's a price break point. When I got in the business 7 years ago, a bagel was 75 cents. A bagel today, just a plain bagel in a bag, is $1.50.
Wow. So
the cost of flour, the cost of employees, more importantly, PSE&G. Our PSE&G bill was $2,000 a month consistently. It is now $3,000 a month. So it's $1,000 cash, but that's a 50% increase. So if I was, every time something went up, if I was to increase my product, can I take a bagel now from $1.50 to $2.25? No, it wouldn't sell, I don't believe. Taylor ham, egg, and cheese, sausage, egg, and cheese were $4.50. They're now $8.50 over that time period. And right now, my margin is 10%. It used to be anywhere from 20 to 30, but the cost of goods is just really hurting the small business. And I feel that I can't just put it on the consumer. So as a owner and not my prime source of income, I'll take the hit personally to keep that business open and see if somewhere along the line the cost of goods goes down. Perfect example, eggs, which we use 30 boxes at 15 dozen in a box a week. Do the math, that's a lot of eggs. When I got in the business, about $1.89 a dozen. They spiked up to $4.29 for about 8 weeks, and we lost money. I did not raise the price of an egg and cheese sandwich. Eggs have come down to $2.17 a dozen, so we're in good shape. We serve fresh squeezed orange juice. It's $7 for 16 ounces and $8 for 20 ounces. A box of oranges, when I got in the business, was $28. And you would get 8 cups out of a box, and back then it was $5 for a fresh orange juice. Now it's $7, 8 cups. That's $56 for the profit. A box of oranges were $40. So, okay margin, 35 to 40%. We can live with that. oranges for the past 6 weeks have been $62, and they had to take fresh squeezed orange juice off the menu.
You're going to have to plant an orange tree in your backyard in Rutherford.
There you go.
Start growing your own.
There you go.
We need the fresh squeezed orange juice at Wonder Bagels. Do you offer any catering?
We cater. It's not a big part of our business. We do deliver every morning to schools, technical schools, wholesale bagels, and then we cater a decent amount of lunches to various. We don't do a great job. We do a good job when we get the business. We don't have a large income from or revenue stream in catering.
Okay, maybe we can help with that.
Maybe if somebody can call in and do some catering, we're a very good price for the products that we deliver.
What else are you offering at the store besides bagels? Like, do you do sandwiches or prepared salads, things like that?
We have cold cuts, ham, cheeses, things of that nature. We have fresh chicken, both grilled and fried. Tuna fish, chicken salad, egg salads, and of course, and then the extras of all the sodas, the Snapples, the juices, water, yogurts, fresh fruit. So we pretty much anything you could think of for breakfast through lunch, we have the product for.
So you mentioned before about doing partnerships with the technical schools. I think you know my cousin, Gerald Lyons, right? In Jersey City?
Jerry Lyons is the one that got us into the technical schools. Jerry was running the food and service beverage for Hudson County Technical Schools, and about 4 years ago, Jerry was buying a product that he was not satisfied with, and he brought us in, and we deliver a large amount of bagels every morning to the 3 technical schools in Hudson County because of Jerry and the product. He was very supportive in that. Jerry has since retired, and we'll give him a plug. He's running for Board of Ed and Sea Caucus.
That's right, he is.
And he's a good man. He could do it well. But that's how we got into the school business.
Isn't that such a small world?
Yes. Everyone. I always say the world is one block long and everyone knows one another.
That's so true. Wow. I'm actually going to try to have Gerald on the show as a guest.
Oh, he'd be great because he really knows the food service industry. He knows how to treat people. One of the examples of how we treat people, and people actually in Jersey City Heights now, it's pretty family-oriented because a lot of people from downtown moved up to the Heights to get a bigger piece of property with a backyard with a family. And any child under the age of, say, 10 or 12, when they come in, we sneak them a cookie. We ask the parents first, but make sure there's no allergies and things of that nature. And kids actually want to come to the bagel store to get a cookie, and then the customer will buy something from us. So it's a win-win.
What's your number one selling item at the store?
The number one selling item, as far as bagels, there's 16 types of bagels. Mm-hmm. The number one bagel is an everything bagel, then a plain sesame.
I'm an everything bagel girlie.
There you go. We brought a bag here today for the people here to try out. But the bagels obviously sell, and then there's the number one sandwiches is Taylor ham, egg, and cheese.
Thank you. It's Taylor ham, not pork roll.
There you go. Well, we let people call it pork roll. All our customers, the customer's always right. That's the first thing I do with my employees. I tell them we're only selling bagels. Don't argue. If they said they wanted it toasted and you don't think they said it, just toast them the bagel.
Right.
We don't want a customer to walk away not satisfied.
I love that. I have the same policy, actually, when I ran restaurants. I'm like, just do what you need to do to make the customer happy, right? It's called second-level service, and I'm going to talk more about that on another episode. But, if you don't have customers, you don't have a business.
That's it.
So, Steve...
The customer's exactly right.
Yeah.
I say it every day. Without the client, we don't need anyone.
We're not here.
No, we're not here. And I have a large payroll, and I've told my employees that they will never miss a paycheck. If I have to put my own money back into the business, I will. That's my number one goal. But the number one person in that store every day is the client.
Thank you. Steve, don't go anywhere. We have to go to commercial break. We will be right back with Steve Cuccinelli of Wonder Bagels in Jersey City.
The Caribbean is calling. Dennis Prager here, and I invite you to join me on a Caribbean cruise this November. Imagine 9 days of basking in the sun surrounded by the stunning beauty of a tropical paradise. We'll cruise the vibrant islands of Half Moon Cay, Curacao, Bonaire, Aruba, and more. Stroll through Curaçao's iconic pastel-colored shops and snorkel in Bonaire's world-class coral reefs. You'll enjoy some of the most delicious cuisine aboard Holland America's Rotterdam, a fantastic destination itself, this ship, with riveting shows and breathtaking views. We'll be joined by a special guest, Sean McDowell, and we'll both share fresh insights. We'll have dialogue on religion, current events, happiness, and our future in America in light of the election. November 29 to December 8th. Secure your spot today by calling 855-565-5519 or book online at pragercruise.com.
Over the last 30 years, Newman Ferrara, a New York City law firm, has evolved into a national practice focused on real estate, commercial, litigation, civil rights, class actions, and other complex litigation, representing many of the city's largest property owners, managing agents, and thousands of tenants. Newman Ferrara handles some of the nation's most significant class actions and civil rights matters. Newman Ferrara at 1250 Broadway in New York City. Go online to NewmanFerrara.com. That's NewmanFerrara.com. Listen to the firm's name partner, Lucas Ferrara, every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Dottie Herman's longest-running real estate radio program, Eye on Real Estate on AM 970. A real estate lawyer for 35 years, Lucas is a professor at New York Law School and is also a published author with books on real estate and New York's landlord-tenant law. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to hear Lucas's unique perspective and advice on Eye on Real Estate. Unity Bank is dedicated to community-oriented banking and offers a full range of services including business and personal accounts, business loans, and mortgages. Unity has locations throughout New Jersey and in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, expanding its footprint to 21 retail locations. If you're a small business owner, you know how frustrating it is to be a nobody at the big banks. You should be banking at a community bank like Unity. You can have a personal relationship with the president and CEO, my good friend Jim Hughes. Jim asks that you call him directly at 908-713-4306, 908-713-4306, or send an email to james.hughes, Hughes, at unitybank.com, and Jim will get right back to you. You can't get this type of service at the big banks. Visit unitybank.com. FDIC insured, equal opportunity employer, and equal housing lender. Unity Bank, growing with you.
This is Dennis Prager. If you share my passion for free speech and rational thinking, become a member of the ultimate online community for all things Prager. It's Pragertopia Plus. It's less than a cup of coffee a month. Listen or watch every show, all commercial-free. Share your favorite segments with your friends. Now listen commercial-free to my friends Mike Gallagher, Seb Gorka, and Hugh Hewitt as well. Stream every lecture and course offered in the Prager store. Pragertopia Plus members can submit questions for my monthly online Ask Me Anything. Yes, you can ask me anything. We also just added a live chat feature for the Pragertopia community. Chat with me, Alan, and Sean during the show. Great life discussions without restricted topics. Get everything from the show, including lectures, courses, and films as a Pragertopia Plus member. Go to pragertopia.com and get 20 of the top happiness hours from 2023 for free. That's pragertopia.com.
Welcome back to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates on AM 970. The Answer.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, I have in the studio with me today Steve Cuccinelli from Wonder Bagels, located at 331 Central Ave in Jersey City. Before the break, we were talking about how Steve got into the bagel business, some challenges and struggles he's had, what he's doing right. Steve, I have some more numbers questions because I know you're like a numbers guy.
Sure,
you're very good. You're very good at that. What's the hourly rate right now for an employee in New Jersey?
$15.13 per hour.
So working 40 hours a week, are these employees making a decent
They're making an okay living, and they seem to be surviving. They go paycheck to paycheck. We pay every Friday. They can't miss a paycheck. It was interesting. One of my employees said that his friend was working at a store, and sometimes the owner doesn't pay him. And I was taken back by that. My first obligation is my payroll. They'll never miss a paycheck, and they know that. And I think that's part of my employee retention. They're very comfortable that they'll always have a paycheck. Most of my employees walk to work. They work within 4 or 5 blocks of the store, so that's in the inner city. That makes it pretty easy. Not too many of them have a car. 2 of my employees, my manager has a car, and my cook has a car, and I rent 2 spots for them out of my revenues, so they have an ease to get into the store, park their car without getting a ticket in the inner city, which is always a challenge.
Do you have like a GM of the store, someone who's your eyes and ears?
General manager, Joe Castagna, runs the store 6 days a week. Joe and I go back 50 years from Hudson Catholic, like I said before, and he's a people person. He lives in the Marion section. He's well-known in Jersey City. He was the youngest health manager inspector in the state. Joe was retired from Jersey City Health Inspection, and that's how we got in the bagel business 7 years ago, Joe and I.
I love it. Now, if you're just tuning in now and you didn't hear the first part of the show, the reason I have Steve on the show today is because costs are high, and at the end of the day, you can only charge so much for a bagel, right? There's not a lot of wiggle room with how much you can charge for a plain bagel with nothing on it. So, Steve has had some challenges and some triumphs over the last couple of years that he's been open. But Steve, recently, I think you mentioned before, you had to put money into the store.
Yes, the last month I had to put some money into the business. The cost of goods just went out of control.
Right.
A dozen eggs at $4.79 a dozen doesn't work for an $8.50 Taylor ham, egg and cheese, or a $5 just egg and cheese sandwich on a bagel. Bagel's $1.50. You add the egg and cheese, and at those kind of numbers, it doesn't work. But I think we see a turnaround. We see things going down in price, and we just have to be particular on how you're buying, when you're buying. When I hear that the eggs are going to rise, I'll double the order the week before.
Yep, smart.
Put it in inventory because they'll last for 30 days. And just keep your eye on every single penny going out the door. I'm a simple guy with simple math. If your payroll is under 30% of your gross revenue, you're going to make a profit. Once your payroll goes higher, then things get a little bit tight. When people ask me, what would you do to open up a business? How do you do it? I said the first thing is location, 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 and the second thing is rent. You can't be getting into business to pay a landlord so he's profitable. You have to make sure your rent, because those fixed costs come in every month. Rent, PSE&G, the internet, insurance, and those numbers.
Insurance is out of control right now.
They never go lower. They always go higher. And you just can't add it. You can't put it on to the customer. Not in the inner city like Jersey City.
Yeah.
In some places you can. In the higher suburban income areas, people don't really look at the price. They're making a little bit more money, and that's easy for them to absorb a 25 cents or 50 cents increase.
My dad always says pennies make dollars.
Pennies make dollars.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
So you opened the bagel store 7 years ago. What did it cost you to open it at that time versus what would it cost to open a bagel store in today's market? So
our store has walk-in refrigeration. That's both a freezer and a refrigerator. You're talking about an oven, grills, counter, furniture. 7 years ago, it was in the area of about $225,000, soup to nuts to get open. You're looking at least $350,000 today. The cost of refrigeration has doubled due to regulations on how the gas is, how the foam is, and how they're installed. I actually just called, and that's the only thing that stopped me from getting a second, or third, or fourth store is the rents. When we look at locations now, the rents are just out of control. They just want too much money, but more importantly, the cost to open the store to get your return on investment. I'm not saying it's a short period of time, but it's a lot longer than anticipated from when we got in the business.
So there's really no hope for you to open a Wonder Bagels in Rutherford? Because we're dying for a good bagel store there.
Well, there's plenty of bagel stores in Rutherford. I'm more of an inner city guy.
Yeah.
I would do another one in around the Hoboken, Jersey City area, and I would any location. But I need to be able to get to it within 20 minutes. I can get to Jersey City any given day at 15 to 20 minutes. It's early in the morning, so I can get to the store when something bad is happening or a broken oven, things of that nature. But I need to be able to get there pretty quickly.
Okay. And last question I have, what do you do with all these extra bagels at the end of the day?
We count the bagels. We have a board that I make sure they count them, because you don't want to overcook. It's interesting enough, which I should probably touch on. If we gross $1 a week, I make 25 cents on Saturday and 25 cents on Sunday. So 50% of the business is done in 2 of the 7 days.
Wow.
So it's an expense to open to be Monday through Friday. So if you think about it, I'm making 10 cents Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I have to make a quarter each of those days to gross that $1. We count the bagels at the end of the day. We try to keep it under 2 dozen, which we've been doing a great job in monitoring that. And then we at one point, we had a gentleman picking them up. We were saving them on a weekly basis, and he was taking them to a farm to feed cows.
Wow.
So that has since stopped, but we don't have that many, and so we discard them in the garbage.
You don't let the staff bring them home?
Oh, if anybody, at the end of the day, the staff will take, if you work in a bagel store, you really don't want a bagel. You get sick of a bagel all day, right, Joe? You really don't want a bagel at the end of the day. And then every now and then we'll see if there's a couple people in the neighborhood to give them a few.
Yeah. Steve, before we end our portion of the show, I want to know, what's your bagel order? Because just looking at you, I feel like you're a toasted cinnamon raisin kind of guy, lightly buttered. My
favorite bagel is cinnamon raisin.
I swear no one told me this ahead of time.
Nope. Hot out of the oven, you don't toast a bagel. And we bake all day long. We'll bake from 4 a.m. to almost, on a Saturday, to 12 o'clock. So those bagels are hot every 2 hours. And when they come out hot, we discourage people from toasting them. Because there's nothing like a butter bagel. Yeah, you don't need to. My manager just recently had to get off the bagels a little bit. He had a little high sugar and diabetic possible issue, so he's off the bagels. He's not happy.
That's smart. Steve brought in bagels for the whole studio today, so thank you so much. Wonder Bagels, 331 Central Ave, Jersey City. Steve, thank you so much for your insight into the world of New York's favorite iconic breakfast carb, the bagel. Steve, stay with us in the studio because I want to welcome onto the show my next guest, Chef Joey Fortunato. Joey, thank you for joining Culinary Confidential. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thanks, Christina. It's great to be here.
Let me start by saying I've known Joey for a little more than 10 years now. Joey and his family lived across the West Side Highway in Battery Park and would come into the Palm in Tribeca for dinner when he wasn't working at his restaurant, Extra Virgin. Now, me, being the vivacious and outgoing manager that I was, always found myself chatting with him and his family every time they came in, and I very much took a liking to his son, Jagger. If you know anything about the Palm, you know that they were known for their caricatures on the walls. So it felt like a natural fit to put adorable little Jagger's caricature on the kids' wall. By the way, Jagger is he's an adult now looking at colleges, so to say I feel old is an understatement. But in talking to Joey at the Palm, he had mentioned that he was the chef and owner at Extra Virgin in the West Village, and that's a restaurant I had been to many times before. In the industry, it's an unwritten rule that you take care of your own people, so when Joey came in, there was always a table for him, and I would like to send little complimentary things over, and he would do the same thing when I came to Extra Virgin. Joey, real quick, because we're going to have to go to commercial break soon, but I just want to know, how did you get started in cooking?
Oh, I started cooking at a really young age. I was 10, 11, working in delis and pizzerias, and I kept at it. I went to school for something else, and just working in like a a diner at the time, one of the managers said, you're really good at this. You should look into it. So then I decided to go to school. I went to New York Tech, got my first job, real New York City job at the Manhattan Ocean Club with the Stillman Group, which is Quality Group now. And then the rest is history, So I've been cooking for the past, 35 years.
Okay, we have to take a quick commercial break. Stay tuned. I have Chef Joey Fortunato, former chef and owner of Extra Virgin, on the show with me today. We'll be right back.
Over the last 30 years, Newman Ferrara, a New York City law firm, has evolved into a national practice focused on real estate, commercial, litigation, civil rights, class actions, and other complex litigation, representing many of the city's largest property owners, managing agents, and thousands of tenants. Newman Ferrara handles some of the nation's most significant class actions and civil rights matters. Newman Ferrara at 1250 Broadway in New York City. Go online to NewmanFerrara.com. That's NewmanFerrara.com. Listen to the firm's name partner, Lucas Ferrara, every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Dottie Herman's longest-running real estate radio program, Eye on Real Estate, on AM 970. A real estate lawyer for 35 years, Lucas is a professor at New York Law School and is also a published author with books on real estate and New York's landlord-tenant law. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to hear Lucas's unique perspective and advice on Eye on Real Estate.
Want more? AM 970 The Answer? Go to am970theanswer.com to listen live. Tune in to podcasts from the shows you missed anytime you want. Learn more about our advertisers. Join the AM 970 fan club and sign up for events. am970theanswer.com.
This is Joe Piscopo. The following is a Medical Minute sponsored by my friends at InfuCare RX. Here is this week's Medical Minute featuring Kathy Kumarianos, National Director, Nutrition Support for InfuCare RX.
According to data collected and analyzed by the American Society of Parenteral and Enteral Nutrition, 32 to 40% of patients 18 years and older across care settings may be malnourished. Malnourished patients are more likely to be readmitted to the hospital and may require additional care in rehabilitation centers or even long-term care facilities. Keep an eye out for sudden weight loss, loss of appetite, and other signs that may suggest malnutrition.
This Medical Minute is sponsored by InfuCare RX, and the information, comments, or views expressed by the guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of InfuCare RX. Please consult your medical professional for any medical questions, opinions, or guidance.
It's October, and that means Halloween is coming, and the election is right around the corner. Scary times, but all of that pales in comparison to the fears associated with shopping for a vehicle. Talk about frightening situations. Well, I'm happy to inform you that there's a simple solution when you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, and it's Route 22 Toyota. That's right, Route 22 Toyota in Hillside, New Jersey. The same guys I've been telling you about for years. Alex Cancella, the general manager, and his team make the entire process of buying a vehicle fast and simple. They got a huge inventory of quality pre-owned vehicles as well as Toyota certified used vehicles, and they're priced to sell. Give them a call at 973-705-8905 today. Ask how you can save thousands by purchasing one of their quality used vehicles. If you're tired of dealing with dummies, get over to Route 22 Toyota. Experience a smart way to buy. 973-705-8905. Route 22 Toyota in Hillside, New Jersey. And as always, don't forget to tell them Joe Piscopo sent you.
Craving that signature Sunday sauce? Michael's of Brooklyn will make your place a must. Join Michael's of Brooklyn Sauce of the Month Club. Receive a different jar of Michael's of Brooklyn pasta sauce, homemade pasta and biscotti each month for 6 months. Make your home the place to be with Michael's of Brooklyn's signature fresh marinara right in your home. Visit michaelsofbrooklyn.com and order online. That's michaelsofbrooklyn.com. Michael's of Brooklyn, serving the community since 1964.
Dennis Prager here, inviting you to join me on a cruise to the Caribbean this November. I'll share fresh insights about our world today, all while soaking up a tropical Caribbean paradise with you. Call 855-565-5519 or at PragerCruise.com.
Welcome back to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates on AM 970. The Answer.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, I have in the studio with me Joey Fortunato, chef and former owner of Extra Virgin on West 4th Street in New York City. Joey, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Well, before we went to break, I was going to get into asking you some questions here. I wanted to know, you opened up Extra Virgin, and that's a huge undertaking. How did you decide which neighborhood in New York to choose? And how did you come up with the name Extra Virgin? Because I think that's a fantastic name for a restaurant.
Thank you. I think the name was, perfect for the restaurant. We chose the West Village just because it's, such a great neighborhood. But the story behind it is very funny, actually. I didn't really know my ex-partner at all. We had met at another restaurant that her husband was running.
What was that restaurant?
It was a coffee shop.
Oh, in Union Square.
Yeah.
Oh, Sex and the City. If you ever watch that, you'll know all about the coffee shop.
A celebrity spot. So we had met there and talked ambiguously about the about restaurant, opening a place together. But, it was just a conversation. And then one day, her husband, Charles, said, you guys have to meet me at this place. So we went, we both went there, hadn't seen each other in months. Had a bite to eat, a drink. We went out to another little coffee shop in the neighborhood and, just got to talking. And, Charles said, this place is great, but the one thing is that, we have to decide by tomorrow. So me not even really knowing Michelle at all.
Wow.
I just said, I have X amount of money and I'm in 100%. She looked at me kind of googly-eyed and said, I'm in too. So then the next day, actually 2 days later, we met with the landlord. The landlord loved us. And then we signed the lease within a week, so it was this really crazy thing that just got thrown into it. And, I had been looking at spaces for years, and the price was right on this one. The West Village wasn't as crazy as it is right now. This is 2004, so it was still a real neighborhood back then.
And how has the West Village changed in the 21 years that you were operating in it? Is it different now than it was 21 years ago? Oh,
it's so different now. When we opened, it was a wealthy neighborhood. Wealthy meaning, a doctor, a lawyer kind of thing. Brownstone's worth $10 million, $12 million. But now, a brownstone, a three-story brownstone in the West Village now goes for, $30 million, crazy. So the people in the neighborhood are living there maybe 3 months of the year, as opposed to counting on people coming into the restaurant
right
twice a week, once a month, something like that. So the neighborhood itself isn't what it was. It's still a lot of foot traffic on the weekends. There's people everywhere. You can't get a parking spot. You can't barely walk down the street. But as a neighborhood, it's not really what it was back in the early 2000s.
That's so sad. And to me, I've worked in New York for 20 years. I went to a culinary school downtown in Manhattan when I was 18 years old. I feel personally, and I know other people feel like this as well, New York is getting soft, right? The places like CBGB, the mom and pop restaurants, they're a dying breed. Everything is becoming more corporate, more sterile, and it infuriates me. Yeah, places like Extra Virgin are closing down after 21 years. That's unacceptable.
Exactly. The way New York was, it's even now, if you go out on a Saturday night, pretty much it ends around 2 a.m., where back when we first opened, there were people walking around at, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Like you said, when I was younger, going to CBGBs, we would hang out till 5, 6, 7 in the morning all the time. Going to, I don't know if you remember, Save the Robots back in the Lower East Side, and this is going way back.
That might have been before my time.
Yeah, it was the coolest club back then.
Steve, you're still in the studio. Do you remember that place?
No, that was a little... I was a Jersey guy. We didn't do too much in
You
New
never
York.
came across?
Oh, we did. After the 2 a.m. Jersey closing, we came over.
Yeah, Save the Robots was me and Mark Murphy's favorite spot back in the days.
Let's talk about some fun stuff before we get into some deeper topics. What kind of celebrities came into your restaurant?
We had everybody coming there from, Ben Stiller, Tom Brady, and Giselle used to come in. Before they were a couple, Giselle lived in the neighborhood, like when we first opened, and she lived 2 blocks away. And she came in every Sunday, every weekend, either Saturday or Sunday, with a group, 2, 3, 10 people. And her favorite thing was banana French toast.
Yeah, right. I don't believe she's eating carbs. No way.
Right. Maybe now it's different, but back then she would get an order every time and then get one to go. And, anybody who worked with me back then will, attest to that. So, Giselle, we have you.
You still have the recipe. Come over anytime, Joey. I'll cook it up for you.
And actually, she had a Brazilian magazine do the recipe, and we did it on film. And they put the recipe in the book, and saying that was her favorite dish. And she still came in after she left New York. She came in whenever she was in town. She came in, and then she came in with Tom whenever they were in town. And luckily, my son Jagger, that we talked about, or you talked about earlier, and I had to get him in here. Had a great picture with him and his friends after a flag football game with Tom, which is,
oh, that's epic.
Hanging on my wall in my office, in every office.
Did he sign it?
He did not sign it, but it's him, and it's, he's got his arm around Jagger and Hank.
Aww.
That's Hank is Jagger's best friend, so it's a great photo.
So if you're just tuning in, I have Joey Fortunato, chef and former owner of Extra Virgin, on the show with me today. Joey, I recall at Extra Virgin, you had a few select tables right in front of the restaurant. And I'm not talking about these outdoor huts that have popped up due to COVID accommodations. They were where you wanted to see and be seen. How impossible was it to get a table there? Because I know out of all the times I went to Extra Virgin, I was never able to snag one.
Right. Well, back then there was really no outside seating in the West Village. But we had a little deck, a little patio that sat 16 to 18 people, so 6 or 8 tables. And that was, back when it was really people watching, all celebrities walking by all the time. So people would come, and we would never reserve those tables. So people would wait 2 hours just to sit there. They would come, have a drink, go out, come back. And again, we never reserved those tables. It was always first come, first serve for those tables.
And I remember there was always this one guy there who was kind of your face of the front of the house. Every time I went there, it didn't matter if I popped in on a Tuesday night at 11 p.m. or I came in on a Saturday at 5 p.m. He was always there, and everyone knew him. What was his name?
You're talking about the mayor of West 4th Street, and his name is John Rene. Jean Rene is, the most affectionate, beautiful person that I've ever met. He is a wonderful, wonderful man. He was with us for 20 years. If you can believe it or not? Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, that's a testament to you and how you run your business, though.
Yeah, he took care of us. We took care of him, but he was the best. He would, run down the block and kiss a baby that, he knew the family, petting dogs, everything. Sarah Jessica Parker lived down the block. He was very friendly with her whenever she was, walking down the street and anyone would bother her. He would go running out and kind of shoo them away. He became buddies with her little son, and whenever he came by, John Rene would throw him in the air, 10 feet high. And now he's, he's a teenager now like Jagger. I think they're about the same age, and he still remembers John Rene, and they used to come in all the time on Sundays for spaghetti and meatballs.
I love it. Would you say that I was the John Rene at the Palm?
Oh, for sure, for sure. Everybody knew you, and you knew everybody, and that was really the great thing about, getting to know you. Like, whenever you walk in and it's packed, just wanted to, give you a little wave. And then instead of you kind of giving me the wave off, you'd totally come running over, give me a big hug, give Jared a big hug.
Yeah, I was trying to get one of those outdoor tables at Extra Virgin.
Yeah, exactly. And bring us right over to our table. And, you talked about Jared getting his picture painted on the kids' wall, and that was such a big thing. And he was, he was so proud. But whenever he went there with other friends, he would always take them in the back to the kids' wall and show them his little.
I know, it was like a status symbol.
Yes.
So we're running out of time on the hour. I just have more questions for you. What are some tips and tricks you have in eliminating food waste and controlling the food costs within restaurants?
Nowadays, the costs are out of control. So you really, really have to, be very conscious of everything that you're using, and trying to utilize everything you can. Nowadays, it's dealing with the different purveyors. It's you really try to get different portions of meat, chicken. That's there'll be no waste to it. So if you're butchering a chicken, you're using a half chicken, and then the legs that you normally wouldn't use, that's going to go for family meal, which is the meal for the staff. So really, there could be no waste in anything that you're using. And
what was your favorite dish that you had on the menu out of any of the years?
They were all my babies, so it's hard to say. But our Sunday spaghetti and meatballs was, fantastic, and people came, and that we only made a certain amount, so we made 32 orders a week, and that was it. Never more, never less. And if you came late, you were out of luck. And so many people would be like, I came from Connecticut, I came from Jersey, and then we're like, well, you're going to have to come back next week a little earlier. So that was a fun thing to do, and that was my favorite dish.
And how often did you change the menu? Was it seasonally?
Yeah, we change the menu seasonally all the time. I really try to do that, and every restaurant I worked at. You have to keep the staples on that people love, but then you changed, I would guess, 50% of the menu just geared toward the seasonal things, right now getting all the fall vegetables in, using butternut squash, pumpkin, that kind of stuff right now.
Well, Joey, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate our friendship, and you've always been an inspiration to me in the industry.
Thank you.
And I know you have a lot of exciting things. What do you have coming up next, now that Extra Virgin closed down earlier this year?
I'm so glad that you asked. I'm so lucky that I landed with the Stout Hospitality Group. They're a wonderful group. We're opening a restaurant called The Splendid. It's going to be on 52nd Street between Madison and 5th, 16 East 52nd. And it's going to be a fabulous place. Martin Whalen is the owner of the restaurant, and it's going to be a fabulous place. We're going to have seafood towers, steaks. We're going to have caviar. The place is beautiful. It's in the process of being built right now. The kitchen is great. I'm so looking forward to working with this group.
Okay, can I come for a private tour?
Oh, for sure.
And I know you have a lot of exciting things in store. You're doing consulting, you're opening up new places, and you're always on the go. Thank you for listening to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates, Sunday nights at 9 p.m. on AM 970 The Answer. And thank you to my wonderful guests this evening, Steve Cuccinelli, owner of Wonder Bagels in Jersey City, New Jersey, and Chef Joey Fortunato. We need to continue to support small businesses. It is the small business sector that brings uniqueness and vibrance to any city or town. It's those personal connections that the owner has the opportunity to make with the guest. That's where the memories are made. If you want to keep up with Culinary Confidential, please follow the show on Instagram at Culinary Confidential Christina. As always, I need to give a big shout out to my favorite engineer, Alex Garrett. Thank you for your help and your guidance behind the scenes. Please give Alex's 5-star rated podcast a listen, One Leg Up with Alex Garrett. Available on all major streaming platforms. And guess what? So is mine. As of this week, Culinary Confidential is now streaming on all major platforms, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Amazon, and YouTube. So if you can't stay up with me until 9 p.m., you can still have a listen the next day. Join me next week with special guests Mona James, Corporate Catering General Manager, and Michael Young, a veteran and leader in the hospitality industry. That's the show. Thanks for listening and have a good night.